Which summer arrival should start for Arsenal? How do Ozil, Aubameyang, LACAZETTE, Mhikitaryan all fit into Unai Emery's attack? And which big money transfer target makes the most sense for Arsenal's midfield? Here is our potential starting 11 for the upcoming campaign for the Gunners. Now, the number one spot isn't a foregone conclusion despite one player having an advantage over the other age-wise. Petr Cech's advancing years by no means mean that he's a bad goalkeeper, but having spent £20 million on German goalkeeper Bernd Leno, and with Unai Emery ushering in a new era at Arsenal, it's to the future that they're looking, so it makes sense for the 26-year-old to be the starting goalkeeper. I will throw in a shout for David Ospina, however he's not at the level of the other two and he may even be sold. Moving to the right back spot, and there is a case for an experienced player to be starting, however once again youth just can't be ignored. Despite bringing in 34-year-old right back Stefan Lichtsteiner from Juventus, Hector Bellerin is definitely going to keep his spot at right back and probably will do for the years to come. Don't get me wrong, having Lichtsteiner in and around the dressing room with all the experience of winning titles that he does is definitely a plus, but in an ideal starting 11, I can see Bellerin taking the spot. Now over to the left back spot, and it's really a no-brainer. Nacho Monreal has been a brilliant player for Arsenal in the last few years and definitely one of the most consistent, even when filling in at centre half. However, Monreal getting up and down the left wing isn't something that you're likely to see at the age of 32, so in that case, Sead Kolasinac, after an impressive first season, will definitely be looking to make the spot his own for the next few years at least. Centre-back, a position of real weakness for Arsenal over the last few years, and if I had a penny for every time I heard bring back Steve Bould, Martin Keown, Tony Adams, I'd be a really rich man. Skorodan Mustafi is a pretty good centre-half, but he's not top level. New signing Socrates Papastathopoulos looks a level above that, if not world class, but I'm sure he'll start. Laurent Koscielny was on a downward curve, and this latest injury setback isn't going to do him any favours, where the youngsters like Rob Holding, Callum Chambers and new Greek centre-back Mavropanos look pretty decent, but don't quite have the experience yet to withstand the defensive pressure. So what I'm saying is Arsenal could do with a new centre-back, someone big, physically imposing, someone pretty good in defence and experienced as well. How about Jerome Boateng? Apparently he's asked to leave Bayern Munich this summer, and Manchester United have been linked with a £50 million deal. That's the kind of money that Arsenal could stamp up. And for a player who's won so many trophies at club and international level in the last few years, it seems like he'd be a pretty decent signing, right? Whatever you guys think, make sure you let me know in the comments below, but hold on just for a few more minutes until we get to the really big superstar names up front. So with the defence done, we move into the midfield, and to keep this kind of simple, we're going to separate the middle two up before unleashing the magnificent four in attack. So without Jack Wilshere, Arsenal have brought in Sampdoria midfielder Lucas Torreira, who looks a pretty good player, don't get me wrong, but there may be a bedding process involved into the Premier League, so I can't see him starting right away. As for Mohamed El Neni, again, he's a decent player, but I don't really think he's the guy in midfield to fire Arsenal back into the top four. Long gone are the days of a steely midfield presence like Patrick Vieira and Gilberto Silva, so instead I think Arsenal should look to the transfer market and someone like Steven Nzonzi. He's worked with Unai Emery before at Sevilla and they've both won titles there. He's a real menace in the middle of midfield, he's an absolute man mountain, and he's pretty decent on the ball too, so I don't think that would be such a bad option. Now, who plays alongside Nzonzi is absolutely anybody's guess. At the beginning of the summer, Unai Emery said there were 5 untouchable players who he'd like to build his team around, one of them being Granit Xhaka. However, I don't really think he's got the ability to dominate Arsenal's midfield. He has a decent long-range strike and he's a pretty good passer, but in terms of box-to-box all-action midfielder, he's just not cutting it for me, so I'm going to leave him out. Youngsters Matteo Guendouzi and Ainsley Maitland-Niles have both had impressive pre-seasons and look like they have bags of potential, but again, much like with the youngsters in defence, I'm not sure they're ready to handle the responsibilities yet. So that just leaves one player who, despite injuries and some drops of form in the last few years, really has all the ability to be a key player for Arsenal. Should they sign him to a new contract in the next few weeks and potentially give him the captaincy, Aaron Ramsey could be a massive player for Arsenal and someone I can definitely see partnering the likes of Steven Nzonzi in this midfield. So now we move on to the front four, where absolutely anything is possible. In terms of who is going to play, I think we can kind of narrow it down, and I'm going to throw a transfer rumour in there too, but it's more of a how will they play in terms of system. Firstly, let's mention the guys who won't be in there. Danny Welbeck for me has proved that he definitely can't cut it as a striker at this level. Alex Iwobi probably could do no better than going out on loan to regaining some of his early form, and Lucas Perez has never really fitted in at Arsenal, so don't be surprised if he gets a late transfer away from the club. So who actually plays? Well, Well, it's a mixture of Ozil, Lacazette, Aubameyang, Mhikitaryan, and because I like to throw in a transfer or two, I'm going to say Kingsley Coman as well. Now, early summer interest in Coman has cooled off, but I think he'd provide Arsenal with real width, as opposed to Mhikitaryan and Ozil cutting inside. There are a few options here. You could have Aubameyang through the middle, you could have Ozil and Mhikitaryan out wide cutting inside, and Lacazette in a number 10 supporting striker role, backing Aubameyang up. You could also have Ozil as the number 10 role, Aubameyang's pace out wide, Lacazette up top and Mhikitaryan again on the left, or you could go for a FIFA-style all-out blistering pace attack by having Aubameyang and Coman on the wings and Ozil in behind Lacazette. To be honest, the options are endless, and I'm quite thankful that I'm not in Unai Emery's position where I have to pick the team. But if I was, and if I had the transfers that I would like, I'd have to say Coman on the right, Mhikitaryan on the left, Ozil in number 10, and Aubameyang's speed up top. Sorry, Lacazette. So with that all said and done, it's over to you guys now. What do you think of this team and who would you change? Would you stick with the players who are already there, or would you bring in some new faces to push Arsenal back to the top of the league? Let me know in the comment section below, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.